Thank you very much, John. I appreciate those kind words. Let me begin by saying what a model partner the Hunger Project has been in relation to this particular project on participatory democracy at the local level. It's done what it said it would do, which for a donor is a very important point. That is, it has complied. And after all, we're using public money, we need to make sure that that compliance is there. But it's done a lot more than comply. It's been a knowledge generating project, it's been a network generating project, and I think it's been an inspirational project. That is, people around the world have felt empowered by this idea and by the indices that have been created, and we don't even know the ripple effects around the world that have been created by the Hunger Project's work here. It's a model of the sort of things that we like to fund at the UN Democracy Fund, projects that have impact, projects that really have a transformative process and achieve a number of things. So, and let me just go on while I'm praising the Hunger Project to say I was not surprised that the Hunger Project would deliver such an excellent particular project here, because we've worked with the Hunger Project in India and the Hunger Project in Bangladesh. And in both cases, we were very pleased with the work they did. In India, it was training elected women members of panchayats, of local governments. You know, there are 1 million elected women in India, 1 million. It's quite a significant number. And what they need is to deliver. And to deliver, they need skills. And the Hunger Project helped them a lot with those skills. And we worked with the Hunger Project in Bangladesh. And so let me say something very indiscreet, because I'm leaving the UN on Tuesday. I've got another week to go. So I can do these things now. And you know, the Hunger Project in Bangladesh had done something that had infuriated the government of Bangladesh. And what it did was, it did a survey of the educational claims of the members of parliament of Bangladesh, and found that a huge swath of them had lied. They did not have these degrees that they claimed to have had. And they published these findings and of course made lots of enemies. So when we told the Bangladesh Permanent Mission that we were going to fund this group, they said, oh, they don't think it's a very good idea. And anyway, to cut to the chase here, we would not take no for an answer. And when the Hunger Project in Bangladesh got endorsement from the local government authorities in Bangladesh, the Permanent Mission here in New York went very quiet. So we funded that project. So it's been a terrific partnership with the Hunger Project. We've been pleased with the way things have gone. You know, last year I was here and we released the report that's on the desk next to this year's report, and I spoke last year about this very difficult word, subsidiarity. So I've done that, I don't have to do that again. But, you know, I've been really thinking a lot about some of the work we've been doing and some of the context it's in. And in particular, one of the premises that the UN and many others work on, and that is, we do not support any one model of democracy. That's one of the mantras that we have at the UN, and we're not alone in that regard. Over the years I've been thinking, what does this mean, you know? And I'm not alone in that there have been other studies about this issue. Are there various models of democracy? Well, of course, David Held has written a wonderful book called Models of Democracy, and any book that's in its 9th edition can't be too bad, so that sort of answers the question from a theoretical level. But in New York, the question had been, are there non-Western notions of democracy? Are there non-Western systems of democracy? And that's something we've had to look at in great detail and try to come to an answer to. And there's been some very interesting work. There's a forthcoming publication that I'm reviewing for the Carnegie Institute dealing exactly with this issue, a very erudite piece of work. I think what it seems to be coming to the conclusion of is that there are a lot of non-Western issues out there. There are a lot of issues about participation, a lot of issues about equality and equality of opportunity, a lot of issues about inclusion, about groups that don't have a say in the political process. But I'm not sure, and let's see whether, something develops and I'm not sure that there are new models of democracy emerging. They still use the same representational systems. They still use the same accountability systems. They still use the same range of electoral systems. And although, it remains the case that we don't support any one style of democracy or any one a particular shape of democracy, I'm not sure that there are north, south, east or west models of democracy. I think we're all talking about the same thing, but there may be different policies that are supported. And that brings me to my last point. I recently read another study that asked this sort of same question about different democracies around the world. And its conclusion was quite interesting. It said there were a range of different types of democracies, but they didn't break down in north, south or east, west categories. They broke down in age categories. There were new democracies that had all sorts of energy and constitutional innovation and lots of plebiscitary action and so forth. And then there were the very geriatric democracies from Europe and America and so forth, with frozen constitutions and systems, electoral systems, however archaic, that they stuck through thick or thin. And in fact, in this country, believe it or not, we have an 18th century electoral system called the Electoral College, and we are now in the 21st century. And the Americans won't even, consider any idea of changing it. So there was this idea that there are new and there are old democracies, and that's really where the variation came. And here was the unhappy thought that came to me. First there was a happy thought. And the happy thought was, well, after all, we are in a universal world. Universalism does exist. It's not about different regions, it's about age. And age is not a function of north or south, etc. But the unhappy thought was an anthropomorphic thought. If democracy has age, does that mean that that final rite of passage will also come to democracy? That democracies will die? That they will get so old, so sclerotic, so unable to deal with their issues, that in the end they won't be able to survive? And that, I think, is a difficult concept. I think we're in a situation where we certainly might have some evidence for some of the difficulties that the established democracies are going through. Is there an answer to this? If there is an answer, it won't be an answer from top-down design. It will be an answer from bottom-up participation. If there is an answer to this question about whether or not democracies can renew themselves, even when they're old, it will be from participation by people who want to have a say, want to be involved in that process. And I'm very proud that last Sunday I was there at Columbus Circle with the other 300,000 people, showing that you can be in democracy on both ends. Thank you very much, John.